Next up, we're sitting down with Sheriff Larry Ashley to talk about some 2017 initiatives.
We want to reestablish our street crimes unit, and that is in response to the continued increase in violent crime, and that's due mainly to our growth in residential population and our growth in tourist population. We have to do something to be more specific, oriented toward those violent street side crimes, whatever you want to call them. A lot of our violent crime is due to the result of increase in domestic violence. But there's also a lot of it due to drugs and prostitution and just that general atmosphere of not being accountable to the law in regards to the sale, procurement, use of illegal drugs. And so if we can get some sort of grip on that, and it's the breakdown of the family. There's a long list of reasons why violent crime has increased, but the main one is that we've got a bigger population. And with a greater population comes more crime, or those that are willing, a percentage of your population is willing to go against the grain and not really care about their neighbors or the like, and we'll take advantage of that. We're also, standing up our new traffic unit or expanding upon it. All these units that we stood down, well, they weren't stood down, they basically got rolled into field services or patrol when we lost all the individuals as a result of budget cuts. And so our primary responsibility for our citizens is to answer calls for service. And you can't do that unless you have the manpower to do that. So we had to do away with most all our specialized units just to have the manpower necessary, because we've had historical highs in calls for service from 2009 until every single year we've had more calls for service than the previous year. So I think we're up to 225,000 calls for service in 2015, and we're not even through with 16, and it looks like we're going to break that record again. So the more people that we bring into our community, the more calls for service we're going to have, and whether that's residential population or tourist population or both. And we're growing in both those areas. Dangerous traffic, people who don't adhere to the laws of the road and feel like that they're the only people on the road and they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and however they want. More people are killed in traffic than in all homicides for the last 10 years in a single year. We have 6,000 to 6,200 traffic crashes every single year. So you're talking about 18 to 20 traffic crashes a day in Okaloosa County alone. And so there has to be some enforcement of traffic laws. Speed kills. There's no doubt that speed kills. Running stop signs and red lights and placing other people's lives in danger because you were either late or you don't care about what the speed limit is or you don't care about your neighbor on the road. That's just things we just can't allow. We have to prohibit those things. They're prohibited in the law. And what good is the law if you don't enforce it, though? And so we have to have the ability and the resources to enforce the law. Reckless and aggressive drivers, road rage, these are the things that really concern us on our roadways. We're expanding our marine and beach patrol units because of the large number of tourists that we have coming and the high number of thefts that we see from vehicles that are parked in our tourist destinations. Those continue to increase, so we need to have more presence on our beaches and certainly more on our water, because we are one of the leading vessel accident locations in the state of Florida. We are the third most, I believe, registered vessels in the state of Florida, and we have very little enforcement on the waterway. So we need to have a bigger presence out there, because a lot of things that are occurring that we're aware of just that have not had the resources in the past to address. So hopefully we can lower some of those numbers and create a safer environment for our tourists and residents alike. Our Tourist Development Council granted $125,000 for this coming year for mainly spring break and the season, that 100-day season, but also for the shoulder season, so that we can add an additional marine unit, patrol unit to deal with the issues that happen on the water. Also, the City of Destin increased their contract. They also desired a marine patrol unit for the Destin Harbor and the Crab Island locations, so that we'd have additional resources and presence out there on those waterways. And that's just one of the few challenges that we face. If we don't have the resources, then we can't prevent crime. And of course, preventing crime is much cheaper than dealing with it after it occurs. maintaining or sustaining our ability to address and enforce the law is becoming more and more of a challenge. You know, our communication system is antiquated. You're looking at a $7 to $10 million fix to upgrade our communications, where we don't have the inability to communicate in high rises and in areas around high rises due to the blockage and reflections and the like. We have about a $2.3 million capital expenditure every year for vehicles and outfitting vehicles and copying machines and computers and the like. And if we didn't have to spend that $2.3 million every year on that equipment, that capital, that's more people we could have on the road, more patrol officers. 86% of our budget goes towards people. And so we have very little room to operate outside of that. And so hopefully we can find some revenue source to address those capital needs that continue to prevent us from hiring the manpower necessary to address the issues we face.